It is now 5 minutes past 7 p.m. We are about to start our regularly scheduled council meeting. Madam Deputy Clerk, can you please proceed with roll call?
Mayor Joseph,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilman Desaulniers, Councilman Bien-Aimé, Vice Mayor Keys.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll ask Detective Sergio Ramirez of North Miami PD to please lead us in Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Let's please remain standing while Officer De Jesus come forward and lead us in invocation.
Good Lord, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but at this point in time, please bless this body here. Please bless the citizens of this great city. Please look over all first responders tonight as they work hard and work for the citizens of North Miami. And will you please bless for a short meeting. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you very much, De Jesus. Let's begin. Our order of business will begin with additions, deletions, and amendment to the agenda. At this point, we'll ask Mr. Manager to proceed with any addition or deletion to the agenda before we proceed.
The only thing that will be removed today is the proclamation for code compliance. We'll do that at the next meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. So we should consider the agenda set at this time, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, Mayor, consider the agenda set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. We'll go down now for a few special presentation before we go into the businesses of our city. Thank you. Which ones? Here or this? This here. All right. The first proclamation is a proclamation presented to the North Miami Senior High basketball team. Are they here? So the coach is in the court. How you doing? Congrats. Thank you. All right. Everything good? No, but I'm not going to call these. He's okay. All right. This proclamation is being presented to the North Miami Senior High basketball team on behalf of the city of North Miami, the council and its residents. The said proclamation is being presented in honor of their 2018 district championship for the city of North Miami. So we congratulate you all guys for your efforts, for everything that you do. It's a very long proclamation. As you all know, I don't like to read all these ases unless Councilman Bien-Aimé wants to do it, because that's his district. Oh, well, if Vice Mayor wants to do it, you're welcome to read the whereases. Hmm?
My alma mater. North Miami Senior High School basketball team. Whereas this year, the North Miami basketball team, along with its coaching staff, made history by being the first team since 1960 to win a basketball district championship for the city of North Miami. And whereas they are the first all-star African-American team, most of whom are residents of the city of Miami, North Miami, and Haitian American. And whereas earlier this year, they were invited to showcase their talents and play at the Miami Airlines Arena, a stage where only the best are invited to play. Whereas there is a brotherhood that is built on love, hard work, and dedication, starting with their coach, Reynald Benoit, who is a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools and of the city. And whereas he's devoted to fostering an environment of community and family that will impact the future of many of these young men. And whereas the District 14-9A championship win was a pivotal moment in the school's history and the community, which highlight their academic and athletic talents. And now, therefore, in consideration of the foregoing, I, Dr. Here, you can read that. Right there.
Dr. Smith Joseph, Mayor of the City of North Miami, on behalf of the City Council and residents, we do hereby proclaim the North Miami Senior High School basketball team for their achievements, and it witness whereof we set our hand to the seal and cause the seal of the City of North Miami to be affixed this 12th, no, actually today, yeah, the 12th day of June 2018. To the coaches? Okay, they have some for the coaches. The first one is the certificate of recognition presented to Reynolds Coach Ray. Benoit, that's you? Oh. I thought you were a player. Congratulations on your accomplishment and as an for your outstanding leadership in the District 14-9A championship competition. We wish you continued success in your athletic goals. Thank you very much. I thought you was a player. The next one is presented to Mr. James Benoit, assistant coach, North Miami Senior High basketball team. Congratulations on your accomplishment as an outstanding leader in District 14-9A championship competition. We wish you continued success and all the good stuff. Just go become a LeBron James. The next certificate of recognition is presented to Johnny Morissette, assistant coach. Is he here? Well, he's not here tonight, but it's pretty much the same recognition presented to him. Who will be trusted to? Okay, all right. Mr. Ulrich Charles, not here tonight. Same recognition presented to him. All right, who's gonna do the big, that's it? Well, the coaches can come in.
Hello, my name is Reynald Benoit, Coach Ray. First of all, I'd like to thank the City of North Miami for the recognition. This has been a pivotal moment in our school's history. Since 1960, we haven't received a district championship. These boys have been with me, a lot of them since 4th and 5th grade, worked very hard. They want to continue to put North Miami on the map. I want to thank my wife. You know, she lets me go to practice. She lets me do this. She's the boss. They want to continue to represent the city, want to continue to put the city on the map. And we were very honored and proud that you guys gave us this opportunity to be presented with this proclamation. At this time, I'll call each player up to present them with their certificates. First up is Jonas Gerlim, who also will be receiving a scholarship to go play college basketball. Next is Carlos Hart. Brandon Morissette, Monestein. He'll be our point guard for next year. Richard Charles, aka Chucky, one of the top shooters in Dade County. Next up, Mark Marone, aka Young Hefe. Next up, Victor Arp, who also received a scholarship to go play basketball and continue his academic career. Next up, Shamar Andrews. And last but not least, Christian Fanfan. We're a tight-knit group. We work hard every day. We believe that if you put in the work and you work hard, results will come. We look forward to having another great season and to potentially be honored to come here and present again. Thank you again for your time.
Go to the center.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations. All right. The next presentation is going to be done by Councilman Bien-Aimé to a very young man who's celebrating his birthday.
Is the name. Good evening, everyone. And continue up and by upon. Good evening. Bonsoir. It's a pleasure for me this afternoon or tonight to present a 9 years old adult, Mr. Astud. Astud, can you? He's 99 years old. From day one, he's been coming to our senior program. And for that, I'd like to call Marie Farron from the North Miami Senior Program to come and say a few words to Mr. Astud. By the way, he's from District 3.
Good evening. I'm Marie Jean Ference, Housing and Social Services Manager for the City of North Miami. I'm here to acknowledge Mr. Astud Benjamin. He's the fifth child of a family of 7. He had 13 kids with his wife, Loresta Toussaint. He has lived mainly throughout the entire part of Haiti. Until he migrated to the United States in 1996. Unfortunately, his wife passed away in 1997. While he couldn't read or write or speak French, he was very passionate about French literature and poems. He will memorize them by heart without even giving any hesitation. Mr. Benjamin is described as a caring husband, a dedicated father, and a helpful neighbor. To provide for his family, he ventured himself throughout various odd jobs, such as construction, crafted artisan, to name a few. While living in Haiti, he was guarded as the male midwife of the rural community of his. He delivered all his 13 kids for his wife, including the neighbors. He has been a faithful North Miami resident for the past 16 years. He became a U.S. citizen 10 years ago and has been a proud member of the Golden Senior Program since its inception in 2015. As such, on behalf of City of North Miami and the Golden Senior Program, we wish him a happy 90th birthday. 99. I took 9 out. When I met him, I did not even know if he is 99 years old. I remember we were having a party, and he was the one in the dance floor dancing. And when Karen told me he's 99, I said, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe this." He was the life of the party. With that, I congratulate you, and I hope a lot of us can live toward the 99 years that you are doing right now.
Hope we can celebrate this 100.
And please last one more year so you can celebrate 100 years, so you to be a centenarian.
And on behalf of the City of North Miami, I want to call his child, parents, and also the senior citizen program. Everybody from the senior program, please come forward and receive the certificate with Astud. Astud. Come here.
Where are the family? Okay, then you need to be up front.
You're a tall guy, so you can
Go on the other side. Oh, I didn't have a good I'll say that.
Can we take pictures?
There's no space.
Yeah. There's no. How are we gonna? Okay.
Merci beaucoup.
Marie, not toute photo.
Merci.
Yeah, fais un autre image.
Everybody this way, please.
Thank you. Where's the other one? Okay, oh, demoiselle. Okay, okay. All right. Miss. Oh, you're right here. When did you jump here? When did you jump here? I didn't see you. BFM. Oh, they want to say all right. Congratulations. Oh, merry.
Bunny, thank you.
Congratulations. All right. The last presentation is going to be held by our dear Director of, Assistant Director of Finance, Angela Reyes.
Good evening. My name is Angela Reyes. I'm the Assistant Director, thank you, of Finance. I directly oversee utility billing. So tonight is a very special night for me because I get to honor one of my, I would say, one of the better employees. She definitely goes above and beyond her job duties and the expectations, and I expect a lot. I came in expecting a lot. So some of the things some of the qualities that define her as an outstanding employee is her great work ethic, her great integrity. She always has a positive attitude. She's self-motivated. She's a great listener. She's a team player, very detail-oriented. She adapts to change well, and I change a lot. And she's a great communicator. One of the examples that really made Allison stick out to me was in November. She says, "You know, I wanna let the staff know that we appreciate them. What can we do?" And I said, "Oh, you know, we gotta talk to Miguel, the director. We'll see what we can do." December 23rd comes up, and I walk into the office, and everyone has a thank you note and a gift certificate. I said, "Wow, Miguel was great this year. Everyone gets, you know." And I said, "Who did this?" And the supervisor says, "Allison did this." Allison has contributed greatly to keeping the morale of my staff up. And dealing with customers every day, it gets hard to keep a good vibration in the office because we deal with mostly the complaints. As a matter of fact, when there is one of those moments of complaints, Allison has actually gotten in the car with a customer meter reader to go meet with a commercial owner to explain to the owner you know, how we bill, how the system works, and just to educate them. The customer did not only leave satisfied, but they also left confident that the city is doing what they're supposed to be doing and that we are there to help them. So right now I would like Allison to come up and I would like to give her this award. And she's very shy. She hides behind all the pictures, but today she has to stand in the front. Thank you, Allison. This is your Whole Foods card. Would you like to say something?
I would just like to take this moment to say my appreciation, how humble I am that you guys recognize and honor the employees to have these quarterly awards so that we feel appreciated for the effort that we put out and it does not go unnoticed. I know that there's a lot of people behind me for me to stand here. There our supervisor, Ms. Reyes, Ms. Scott, who is always a great support for us, and our other employees that are there to in the moment for whatever needs to be done. So I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to thank the mayor and council again for having me here, and just thank everybody. It cannot be done without a team. So thank you so much.
At this time, we'll move to the announcement, city events. Huh? Oh, before we do that quickly, I would like to recognize the son of one of our own, Mr. Mark Sensitenia. Is it? Did I say it correctly? Can you please stand up? This gentleman is going to the Air Force Academy. He's going to the Air Force Academy. He's the son of his Dunya's son, who's hiding back there in the IT room. Only one word for you. When you go over North Miami, don't go too low. Okay? Congratulations.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. I'm Eunicia Baker. I'm the Senior Public Information Officer for the City of North Miami, and it is my pleasure to share some of our city's upcoming events, programs, and outreach initiatives with you. Looking for enriching summer activities for your children? Well, the City of North Miami has lots of options. Summer camp is underway. North Miami Parks and Recreation summer camps include an array of indoor and outdoor activities. The Museum of Contemporary Art, or MoCA, offers a multitude of summer programs as well, consisting of several sessions. Each session offers different themes, introducing students to a variety of contemporary art and design techniques. For more information, call the North Miami Parks and Recreation Department at 305-895-9840 or MoCA at 305-893-6211. Also, your children are invited to participate in the North Miami Public Library's 2018 Summer Reading Program themed Libraries Rock. The program is designed to prevent summer learning loss by creating opportunities for youth to read at their leisure and participate in hands-on educational activities. Prizes are available for top participants. Sign up today by visiting the library. For a full lineup of activities, visit www.northmiamifl.gov. On June 14th at 6 p.m. here in the North Miami City Hall Council Chamber, residents are invited to the North Miami Mobility Hub and Transit-Oriented Development Strategic Plan Workshop. This workshop is designed to finalize solutions to enhance mobility options and support desired development in North Miami, and to help lay the foundation for an implementation action plan that prioritizes improvements and projects for attracting development around North Miami's future multimodal mobility hub. That's near Northeast 125th Street and 123rd Street. For more information, visit www.northmiamifuture.com/TOD. Also on Thursday, June 14th, Mocha North Miami invites you to an opening reception for Monarchs, Brown and Native Contemporary Arts in the Path of the Butterfly, curated by Risa Puello. This exhibition is inspired by the migration path of the monarch butterfly and features 35 artists. Then on Saturday, June 16th at 1 p.m., curator and critic Risa Puello will give a tour of Mocha's new exhibition, Monarchs, Brown and Native Contemporary Arts in the Path of the Butterfly. For more information, call 305-893-6211. Mayor Smith Joseph's Mobile Resource Fair will take place on Saturday, June 16th as well. This event will feature free career and computer lab services, free mammogram screenings for adult women, and the Miami-Dade County Bookmobile. Mobile resources will vary between two conveniently located sites, which include the Joe Celestine Center from 10 a.m. until noon, and then Mocha Plaza from 1 p.m. until 3. For more information, call the Community Planning and Development Department at 305-895-9825. The next Jazz at Mocha concert will take place Friday, June 29th at 8 p.m. in the Mocha Plaza. This month's featured artist is Julio Montalvo. Jazz at Mocha takes place on the last Friday of each month. Details are available at www.mochanomi.org. Be sure to get to know me at 6 p.m. on July 4th for the 2018 Independence Day by the Bay. Enjoy fireworks at sundown, a kids' corner, live musical entertainment, and great food. Admission and parking are free. Don't forget to bring your blankets and lawn chairs. This event will take place rain or shine. For more information, call the North Miami Parks and Recreation Department, 305-895-9840. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in our city by first visiting www.northmiamifl.gov, then clicking the Connect with NOMI icon on the homepage, where you can sign up to receive our monthly NOMI newsletter. You may also tune in to our free governmental programming on NOMI TV, available 24 hours a day through the city's website. Residents may also like the City of North Miami on Facebook, follow @NOMI News on Twitter, and download the My NOMI app. This concludes today's announcements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Baker. We also have among us a former Mayor, Andre Pierre, standing in the back, next to former Mayor Kevin Burns, as well as, though not here in that capacity of state rep, Attorney Joe Geller. They are also with us tonight. We are blessed with their presence. At this time, we will entertain a motion to approve the no?
You have the budget second quarter presentation.
Well, I thought you said we would forego that.
No.
Isn't that, no?
No, that was a
That's not the
proclamation
one?
for code.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Good evening, Terry Henley with the Budget Office, and tonight I'll be presenting the second quarter budget presentation for fiscal year 2018. The presentation will include the budget to actual information on all funds, including general, enterprise, special revenue, transportation, internal services, and debt service. This first slide represents the complete picture of all funds and their budget versus actual revenues and expenditures through the second quarter, or half the fiscal year from October 1st to March 31st. I'll go through all the slides in more detail, but know that the general fund has collected 47% of revenues and expended 52% so far. Overall, the city has collected 29% of new revenue for all funds and expended 37% of the annual budget to date. The general fund expenditures through the second quarter are at 52%. Last year at this time, we were at 49%. The 3% difference is mainly due to increased pension costs in Hurricane Irma. You'll see that a few of the departments are over the 50% mark for the quarter, but this is normal considering encumbrances and planned projects, and the annual pension payment is included in the first half expenses. Specifically, out of the $38.6 million in expenditures, pension accounts for $7.7 million, and encumbrances account for 2.7. Hurricane Irma accounts for approximately $3 million in this number. The Irma expenses are expected to be more than $6 million when finalized. As for the departments, the budget department expenses are on target. The building department is at 42% when last year it was at 32%. The difference is due to the filling of vacancies. The city attorney and city manager's department's expenses are on target. CP&D is at 30%, which is low because the housing beautification funds have not been spent yet. IT is at 63% because of annual maintenance contracts and equipment encumbrances. MOCA is at 71% due to the grant to MOCA Inc. Non-departmental is at 29% compared to 2% last year. This difference is due to the reimbursable Hurricane Irma expenses. Police expenditures are on target. Public Works is at 75% because of the city's solid waste contract. The purchasing department expenses are on target through the second quarter. This next slide is this is the general fund revenue, and for the general fund there's $74.1 million, and out of that budget we've collected $36.6 million, which is 40% of the year's expected revenue through the second quarter, which goes through March 31st. Property tax is the single largest revenue source of the general fund and represents 27% of the budgeted revenue. Through March, the collection's 90%, which is up 1% from last year. Other taxes, which are 34%, include revenues collected from the state and local agencies and are typically received later in the year. Other taxes include general sales and use taxes and the local option gas tax and franchise fees. License and permits are at 34% for the quarter, which is less than the mark of 43% last year. The major reason for the difference is due to the building department permit revenue collection, which is expected to be collected in the third and fourth quarter of this year. Intergovernmental revenue is on target at 50%. It's revenue received from other government agencies and includes the state half-cent sales tax and revenue from Dade County and from the occupational licenses. Charges for service revenues at 34% when it was 43% at this time last year. The major difference is the decreased demand for off-duty policing compared to last year. This source is a pass-through for the corresponding expenditure. Fines and forfeit revenues at 61%. Miscellaneous revenue is at 33% and includes interest yielded, rents and royalties, donations, disposition of fixed assets, and insurance refunds. Overall, miscellaneous revenues is at $3.1 million in FY18 when it was at $2.8 million in FY17. Non-revenues include the reserve, contributions from the enterprise funds, and transfers to the CRA. Overall, non-revenues are at 15% compared to 7% last year, and the difference is due to a $1.2 million payment the CRA made to the city for planned CRA housing beautification projects, which are in the CP&D department. This next slide is the enterprise funds, and they're used to account for services provided to specific users or segments of the community. The funds are operated similar to private business. The primary funding source of an enterprise fund is user fees. The water and user fees make up almost half the water and sewer budget. The remainder is comprised of reserve money and carryover revenue from prior years that is dedicated to projects. Focusing on the user fees, the city has collected 43% of user fees. The revenue percentage on the slide shows 16% though, and this total is low because we don't record past year revenue as new revenue collected. Water expenditures are also below the 50% mark at 27%. The Water and Sewer Fire Flow Demand Fund is a separate fund because it acts like an impact fee for development where a new water line is required. Only revenue that is generated here is an allowable expense for the fund. The city collected 50% of its stormwater user fees for the quarter. The revenue percentage on the slide shows 29%, and this total is low because we don't record past year revenue as new revenue collected. This makes up the bulk of the fund's revenue, and the remainder is the reserve and carryover revenue from prior years that is dedicated to projects. Expenditures for stormwater are at 30%. The special revenue funds are used for specific purposes, and associated revenue is dedicated for a single purpose only. The funds in this category include federal housing grants, special police funds, and other special revenues like the CRA and miscellaneous grants, impact fees, and the landfill closure fund. Overall, out of the $24 million in special revenue funds, the city has collected 23% of the revenue and expended less at 20%. This slide is the transportation funds. The half-cent transportation surtax and the 3-cent gas tax are their two revenue sources that comprise the transportation fund. The revenue from this fund can only be used for transportation expenditures. Overall revenue is at 15% because almost $3.5 million from prior year revenue is not included in the collection calculation since it was received in another period and not in the first and second quarter. Transportation expenditures are at 56%. An internal service fund is a fund that charges departments for their use of government business-like activity. The city charges departments for fleet services and for risk management or insurance costs on a cost reimbursement basis. Revenue for internal services are interfund transfers from existing revenue or journal entries. Internal services are only at 18% because the carryover revenue of about $6 million from prior years is not included in the calculation. Expenditures for fleet and risk management are at 39%. And this last slide is the debt service fund, and it's used to account for long-term debt or obligations by general obligation or revenue bonds. We have revenue for the pension loan repayment, which takes the form of interfund transfers, and the revenue is at 50% and the expenditures are at 14%. And this concludes the budget portion of tonight's presentation. And next is Margaret Miller, who's the Assistant Finance Director, and she'll be doing the Finance Cash Flow Report.
Question. Do we wait and write down our questions and ask at the end, or do we want to jump back and forth? Go ahead, Mr. Mayor. Should we ask now?
Go ahead.
I just have two quick questions. The first one is relating to the special revenue funds. I know you said there's a $6 million. I'm not sure if that's the funds that you were relating to. However, we had 20% actual and up to date. The revenue is 23%. Are we halfway through the fiscal year right now since it's starting in October?
Yeah, this is half.
So is it safe to say we're going to end at 50% or we're going to end at 100?
Well, we're not in the middle of doing projections yet.
Okay.
But just know that out of all these special revenues, the CRA is a large portion. Let's see, the CRA is $9 million out of the 24. And then the landfill closure fund, that's $12 million, which we don't expect to spend. So it's safe to say it'll be less.
Okay.
Less.
The other one is the transportation funds. Same exact question. I know you said there was a $6 million that came in. It's not added. Once you do add that $6 million, would we be close to what we're spending?
We'll be way over the 50% revenue mark if you were to include prior year revenue.
Got it. Last one, internal service funds. Again, I'm trying to figure out where are we, because we at 18% now, but the actual is 39%. So
the internal service, it's a business-like activity. So we charge the departments for the motor pool fleet and for risk management. So it will be 100% revenue, 100% expenditure at the end of the year.
By September.
Because they're journal entries. You see It's less because the entry hadn't been made by the time the second quarter ended.
Got it. And when is the second quarter?
It ends
for
March
us?
31st.
March, April. Okay, so now so why are we coming with this now?
Because remember, we had the item on before, and we hadn't distributed the physical report
got it,
to
got
you,
it, Councilman.
and we wanted
Okay.
to make sure you guys had the report.
Okay, never
in
mind.
hand.
Thank you. That's fine.
Good evening. I'm Margaret Steele Miller, Assistant Finance Director. I will be going briefly through the second quarter finance cash report. At the end of the second quarter, March 31st, 2018, cash and investments were at $66.5 million, which included $45.3 million in our daily investment bank account, which is our main operating bank account, and $18.6 million held as investments, which included the City National Landfill Savings cash reserve. The previous quarter showed a total cash and investment of $68.3 million. The total decrease of $1.8 million related directly to the decrease of 1.7 in the daily investment account. The decrease was due primarily to the county TIF that was deposited directly to our investment account for the CRA and which was subsequently paid over to the CRA in January. Other notable change, sorry, can you go back to the first? There's a change of $13,855 increase in the Wells Fargo account. This account is used to handle the claims paid on behalf of risk management. The $85,705 decrease in the landfill account was due primarily to the ongoing drawdowns in compliance with the Miami-Dade County agreement for the landfill closure. This slide just gives a summary of our main bank account, and as you see, it includes the $5 million reserve. Excluding the reserve, it shows $40 million or 40.3 cash available for city operations.
Margaret, before you continue, this next slide is, we had a great amount of debate when the financial statements were issued and presented by RMS, and it was I think you guys had some questions about the accounting presentation versus where we are in reserve. So finance put together this next, go ahead and you can put the slide up, put together this next slide to kind of give you a sense of, while the accounting presentation showed a negative 4.8 million because of GASB, they reconcile back to show you the difference. So Margaret, you can walk them through the slide.
Well, for this quarter, we added a brief summary reconciling the fund balance in the general fund. Our CAFR at September 30, 2017 showed the deficit of 4.8 million. So applying the unearned balance from the prepaid rent, the true fund balance would be 7.6 million. And excluding the 5 million reserve, then the true positive general fund balance would be 2.6 million.
Thank you. Any questions?
Can you repeat that again? The last, over the last slide.
Okay. Following on what the city manager mentioned, the auditors were trying to explain why the general fund ended up with a negative or a deficit of 4.8 million. So we are reconciling that 4.8 million to show that we're really not in a deficit per se. the presentation in the CAFR is for disclosure purposes, and it's GAAP. It's in line with generally accepted accounting principles. So the advance rent that we received in 2012, of that amount, you'll see that we have already recognized 7 million of the 20 million from 2012 to now. So there's a $12 million basically sitting in the cash of 40 million. And if we apply that to the deficit, the true fund balance would end up with a positive 2.6.
2.6.
Well, 7.6.
7.6,
and then
including the 5 million.
The 5 million that we're required to set aside per
Correct.
the ordinance. So the total, I guess, non-accounting or non-GAAP
Correct.
Fund balance for the general fund would be $7.6 million. And then we're required to keep 5 million always.
Right.
And then, so a net 2.6 million available and unallocated
Correct.
at the end of the year, at the end of last
At
year.
the end of September 2017.
Okay. Mr. Manager, I'm sure there is a very easy answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Okay.
Why do we have accounts in different banks instead of, we have Bank of America and we have Wells Fargo, right? And we have City National and different.
It's basically the nature of the account. In the case, the Bank of America is who we do our normal everyday banking with. So you see the bulk of our cash is in that account. The Wells Fargo, you see it's only 80,000. The bulk of that is a deposits that we hold per agreements that we have, service agreements that we have with Corvell and Cry Wolf. Which they pay our workman's comp. That's for our workman's comp's payouts.
Yes.
So that's why you see that separate account, because that's per the agreement. That's who we needed to have the account with. And then the same thing on the investments, the City National, which again is the one of the largest savings. That was the agreed upon bank that we were supposed to use per the Dade County grant. The Sabadell CDs, those are investments, and I believe those two were required in that bank per the revolving fund, because we have the loan from the revolving fund.
Okay.
The State Board of Administration is the revolving fund money that we're
Correct.
keeping there, and then SunTrust was probably an old CD that we had, so that accounts for all of the diversification. I would tell you, obviously this is something that we look at a lot. We are under consideration for revisiting who we do our banking with, and that's based on fee charges and things of that nature. I think you all know no one's been getting any great pricing on their money market accounts lately. So we want to make sure we're getting the most out of where our money is spent, where our money is kept. So.
Thank you.
That's it? No one else? No other question? That's it?
It's just a presentation that we're required to do per the ordinance, so we just want to comply.
At this time, we'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda, or what? We need a motion to approve the consent.
So moved.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. That motion was seconded by Councilman Desume. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I see we passed over hurricane preparedness on the agenda. Was there any hurricane preparedness?
No, you'll be getting a full presentation on the June 22nd agenda, and you'll be receiving the presentation tomorrow. We want to make sure you have it in your hands before you see it up there. Okay.
I will be here on the 22nd.
You will not be here?
No, 22nd is a Friday.
26.
I mean, sorry, the 26th, I'm sorry.
Okay,
My apologies.
I'll be here then.
We would hope so.
Tab F, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the selection of Atkins North America, Inc. to perform disaster debris monitoring services in accordance with the City of North Miami request for proposals number 66-16-17, disaster debris monitoring services. Further, authorizing the city manager and the city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement for the provision of services, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That's tab F.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you this evening under tab F is essentially staff's recommendation that the council approve the results of the evaluation committee's final ranking and recommendation to issue a contract to Atkins North America Incorporated in response to RFP 66-16-17, which is intended to request proposals for disaster debris monitoring services. On February of this year, the city issued the solicitation, and in response to this solicitation, the city received 2 proposals. Upon review of the proposals, one of the proposals was deemed to be non-responsive. The other proposal by the firm of Atkins was submitted to the evaluation committee for their review and evaluation. The evaluation committee met May 2018 to evaluate Atkins' proposal, and their results are included as part of the council report, and the recommendation by staff is that you approve the evaluation committee's recommendation. Included as part of the council, as part of the package of the council report is a copy of the proposal submitted by Atkins North America, as well as the evaluation committee's tabulation. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Okay, so pretty much this is the second time we've been at this item. We had it last meeting. The only reason it's coming back is because we didn't have enough document on the on Atkins. Right, Mr. Manager?
That is correct, sir. We sent that out to everyone, and it's also included in your packets.
So, as the protocol, we'll open the item to the public for public hearing. Item F, as in Frank, which was just presented by staff, is open for public hearing, but I see none, hear none, so public hearing is closed on the item. We'll take it back to the dais for any further concerns, questions, or comments.
Move approval.
Question,
I'll
Councilman.
withdraw my motion.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, are we required by law to have someone in place for hurricane?
For monitoring, yes, absolutely, we do, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now make a motion to approve if everybody else has no questions.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab F. That motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0.
It already doesn't say anything.
Tab G. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of City of North Miami. G. Tab G. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving the selection of FPI Security, Inc. as the provider of security services in accordance with the terms, condition, and contained in the request for proposal number 01-17-18, security guard services for North Miami May Avo Public Library, and authorizing the city manager and the city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement with the selected contractor, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the item that you have before you is staff's recommendation for your approval of the results of the evaluation committee's evaluation and recommendation of FPI Security Incorporated in response to RFP 01-17-18, seeking proposals for security guard services for the North Miami E-May Abel Public Library. In January of this year, the city issued said solicitation seeking proposals from experienced and qualified firms. And in response to this solicitation, the city received 17 proposals. In order to review and evaluate the qualifications of each respondent, the evaluation committee conducted a two-tier process. Upon conclusion of the Tier 1 review, the committee shortlisted the top 7 firms to be interviewed by the committee. As reflected in the council report that you have before you, the final results of the Tier 2 interviews show that the top ranking by the committee and the recommendation is to award this contract to FPI Security Services Incorporated. The proposed term of the contract shall be for 3 years, with the first 6 months of the contract being on a trial period. In addition, the city shall have the option to renew the contract for 2 additional 1-year terms. Also, as reflected in the council report on the second page, you can see the rates for uniformed armed guards and for unarmed guards that were submitted by the vendor. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to respond.
Yeah, before. Okay, if there is no other, no additional comment by staff, we will open it to the public at this time. Item G, as in God, is open for public hearing.
Good evening, Jessica Austin, 1140 Northwest 125 Street, Sunkist Grove. I'm not sure if I heard the use of armed guards in the library. If that is the case, I object to that. Armed guards in the library? The library never on its own established its own decorum in there to be a place for peaceful study and learning. And I object to the imposition of some outside source to put that upon the people in the library when they themselves haven't been taught how to conduct themselves in a proper way in the library. I would like to see the North Miami Police Department and Miami-Dade County School Police involved in this security guard quest. Certainly the security guard there doesn't do anything or know anything about security in the library, and obviously that hasn't hampered that person's employment for all these years for some reason. So I would like to see these issues that I just raised entered into consideration with this, and absolutely object to armed guards in our library. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open on the item. I see none, hear none, so public hearing is now closed. Thank you very much. We'll come to the dais for further comments.
Question. This security service, will they also be monitoring the parking lot at the library? Or is this just inside?
Well, Councilwoman, I think that in terms of the logistical areas, in terms of the extent of what the security will include in the contract, it's something that's going to be, left up to the administration and to sit down and determine that. I don't think that that's yet been established.
The other thing I'll add, currently already, we post the officer at the outside of the library every day. I think like 2 to 6, 2 to 8, to kind of service the exterior of the library area and the exterior of the
Since
of
when
the
has
school.
that been instituted?
It's been around for, Chief's here, about 3 months. 3 months.
Have we seen a decrease in the fighting and violence out at the library? I mean, that's been a big complaint by
Outside though.
outside after school.
Good evening, Larry Juriga, Chief of Police, through the manager. Yes, our officers are there from 2 to 6 during the weekdays, and they make their presence known, and the students have been behaving much better now that our officers are out there. But we work hand in hand with the current security officer who's there, along with the librarian, to ensure safety inside as well as outside. And we're going to be working closely with the new company that's being brought on.
Can you give your opinion regarding armed or non-armed security guards?
The discussion for the library, although it's mentioned in their pricing for both, it has been only for unarmed.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, are we talking about armed or unarmed
That was my question.
guards?
We've been talking, he just said it, we've been talking about unarmed guards.
Unarmed, okay.
We get the pricing for both in the solicitation, but
I
that's
just
our-
wanted to, because a
yeah.
resident just got up and expressed concern that we're putting armed police
I
officers,
understand.
armed security guards. We're talking about unarmed.
That's been the
security
discussion.
guards. Why do we need to, if the police are there from 2 to 6, why do we need to supplement them, or is this a renewal of an existing contract?
Well, let's go back in history. We've had some incidents inside the library. When I first became manager, I believe, I don't know if you recall, we had a shooting incident that we became aware of days later. And it just helps with the general operations of the library itself. So we had, along with the companion item, this issue of having some security presence in the facility. We do, during the school year, the kids, we become the after-school program, if you will, for the high school. And again, we just want to have presence for order and all the other things. The officers are there patrolling the outside. And as you know, with the onset of the school shooting incidents that have occurred, and the plan that our partners over at Miami-Dade School, they basically said they're going to try to staff up 100 officers. I think I can tell you from my level of expertise, and I'm sure my chiefs back there, I don't know that is possible for them to do in a year's time. So having the presence outside of police is better logistically, because they're there and they can respond quickly to the school. And if we have a real serious incident, they can respond quickly to the library.
So the officers that we have outside from 2 to 6 are not just primarily patrolling the library property, they're also keeping an eye on the high school property and the
issues
surrounding-
that are happening on the street in between.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. And maybe on a manager's report, touch on whether or not we've had any conversations like what the city of Miami Beach has just done with Miami-Dade schools about putting more officers in schools. We used to have a standalone North Miami police officer in North Miami Middle and North Miami Senior High School years ago. I don't think we do that anymore. But
Chief Jariga and I have been working on that plan to help. We're going to help Miami-Dade public schools. We got to. So
We gotta
at least
help our
supplement.
own-
Yeah.
Yeah, but
We're
that's for the-
helping our
That's
residents.
for the actual school,
That's
not
the
not
school.
for the
Right.
library.
And
Yeah,
that was
for the
right.
school.
That's
I'm
the
totally
meeting we
off
had.
topic,
Yeah,
so
that's a totally different issue.
Okay, are you done, Councilman?
Yes, sir.
I think most of my question already been answered, but my only concern, not really a concern, but comments. If we have the officer patrolling for the past few months, I don't see the need at this time, even here, for a standalone company, because I know they also have the I don't know what they call the young officers who are in training or something like that. The cadet or something. If they are not armed, then, I mean, you have the library. Perhaps we need to get more staff there to work with the kids, because if you go in there in the afternoon, and I don't know if any of it's, after school, it's a little hectic. So I don't know an officer gonna be able to resolve that, because it's not a level of that. Any incident with somebody with guns or disorderly conduct, I would assume that our officer, I thought we didn't have no presence there. This is why, or we were short of folks. But if we already have officers there, it's not a convincing thing right now to spend the money just for that, unless the director, Ms. Gonzalez, if this is something needed. I don't see the need. That's just my opinion at this particular point. If we have our officers, because I mean, what would be their point of having a security company?
Before you answer, can I also piggyback and kind of add up? From my understanding, this is not new, is it? No, it's not new. We've always had.
I taught at North Miami Middle School in 1992, 93, and it was an issue back
So
then.
why? So I'm just lost because I don't understand because the library has always had the security.
We have to, as a matter of business, from time to time, renew these contracts in these situations.
But you guys are presenting it as if this is something completely new. This is not new. So you presenting.
When did we say it was new?
No. Well, no. Let me clarify. It is new. Well, no, Mr. Manager. It is new. No, Mr. Mayor. No, I think we need to be very clear. No, I
They
used.
already have security there.
No,
they do.
You do now?
Of course.
Yes, we have security.
We have security in the library.
Interesting. So, because I know we had the security company, and then there was a gap in the contract. So then you open up some other questions. If they, so has it been working, or what's the, because you do present this as a new item.
Yes, if I may,
Mhm,
Mayor,
please.
Council. My name is Lucia Gonzalez, Library Director, and the library after school is extremely crowded.
Mhm.
I mean, we're talking about beyond capacity, because you have over 2,000 kids from the high school, from the middle school, from the elementary school, plus all the regular patrons, and they all are in the facility. The library has many spaces, and it is our responsibility to protect the people that are in the facility. There are all kinds of things that happen in the stacks of
Yep.
libraries, and not just our library, but it's known libraries everywhere. So security, when you have that volume of people present and so many spaces that you cannot oversee, it's very, very needed. We've had security services for as long as I can see in the documentation of the library, and it's mostly just for after school and then to closing time. And that is, it's established practice for all libraries, if I am not mistaken, especially in urban areas.
Okay. Quick question. How many staff do you have after school there?
We have 6 full-time staff, and supported by the part-time staff, the pages and part-time circulation clerks.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Senor Estrada. At this time, we will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Keys to approve tab G. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0. Tab H, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the selection of FBI Security, Inc. as the provider of security services in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in the request for proposal number 14-17-18, security guard services for City Hall and ancillary facilities, and authorizing the city manager and the city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement with the selected contractor, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab H.
Once again, Mr. Mayor, council members, as the city manager stated earlier in the discussions of tab G, this is the companion item. It's a similar solicitation that was issued, but this one is for City Hall and other ancillary facilities. It was a similar evaluation process. The only difference being this time, the evaluation committee shortlisted 5 firms. The results of the committee's evaluation is reflected there in your council report. And their recommendation is, once again, the company FPI Security Incorporated for this contract. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Thank you very much. We'll open this one to the public as well. for comments, questions, or concerns before we come to the dais. Item H, as in hat, is open for public hearing, but I see one here, none, so public hearing is closed. Members of the dais.
Quick question, Mr. Manager. Just give us an explanation of why we needed this particular service. And the other question is, this is for you, Mr. Estrada. Did you use the same folks to evaluate both RFPs?
No, they were
Okay.
different.
Okay.
And the reason, right.
Thank you, that's all.
The reason for this, Councilman DeSuma, we've had some incidents in the lobby recently, where we've actually had to call in police. We've actually had some issues with personnel that work in the lobby that had some security concerns. I don't know if you've noticed, we have locked the north side entrance of the building, only for emergency exit purposes, and forcing everyone to come around to the south side entrance. You see a presence of a police car here, in addition to the roaming officer. So we felt for, employees' concerns, citizens' concerns when they're doing business in the lobby, that we have this presence available.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the city manager, we're doing a lot of business on the first floor. Between passports, water bills, and other things, there's a lot of cash going back and forth. I think this is a good thing to do. Have we given any consideration to moving anything like passports, for instance, off-site, so everybody's not coming to one floor at one cramped old building that should have been replaced in a bond? But have we given any consideration to taking those services off-site someplace more secure?
Absolutely, we have, and you already approved it. We rented the space across the street.
Oh, that's what that's
That's going to be a customer service hub across the street. So.
And will that have similar security as
Yes,
this?
we would probably have similar security. We're finishing up the build out of it right now, so the cashier's area will be secured. We'll have plexiglass for the employees dealing with the customers. They'll be able to sit down and do business as opposed to standing up at all the windows, and we'll have a larger waiting area. So that was that was my recommendation for a temporary solution until we get a brand new city hall.
One day, one day.
One day.
Hey, Mr. Manager. Again, this is a question, it may be a stupid one, but I'm going to ask anyway. The police department takes about, 25% of our budget? Thereabout?
They're up there. Yeah. Actually, it was more than that.
Right.
Probably closer to 50.
About 2 years ago, it was about 24%.
Closer to 50.
Closer to 50?
Yeah.
Oh, 24 million, I'm thinking, okay. So why we outsourcing instead of the police department?
Two reasons. One, security guard service is a cheaper solution because the other demand that I know all of you have asked for is greater presence on the street for the police in the neighborhoods. So I'm taking this, kind of complex avenues, if you will, to offer a security presence at a cheaper rate, and then we can deploy the officers differently.